Hey, what's up everyone? Thanks for tuning in. This is Brandon with Emerald Coast Pro Plus Detailing. Today we're bringing you a video on some ceramic coating care, on what the process would be for restoring, to an extent, a ceramic coating if it was damaged by the elements, things like contamination and water spots. So we're gonna display a car we did just about a year ago that was hit with some sprinklers and was exposed to the Florida air, atmosphere, muck, gunk, all that fun stuff. We're gonna show you how we're gonna bring it back. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. All right, what's up guys? So Brandon here again, bringing you a fun video. I'd like to thank you all for viewing today. This is ECPPD TV, which of course we know is not a real channel, but it is today. I got the guys working on a interior. We're gonna be doing a ceramic coated car, some maintenance. So basically, we did this in January, and just like everything else in 2020, COVID messed up everything. So these cars were parked outside. They just weren't properly maintained due to, I guess, personal protocol or things that were going on in this client's life. So the sprinklers hit them. They weren't able to stay on top of them. It really makes the whole car look kind of crappy, I guess you could say. So what we're gonna do is just kind of show you a ceramic maintenance and highlight a specific product which I've been using 4 years. It's actually not for 4 years, but I've been using 4 years. But it's been a little bit more than 4 years. It's been close, but it's actually that company right there, IGL. We're gonna be showing you IGL Delete. This is a pro grade product, so this is something that unfortunately not just anyone can get their hands on. However, if you bring your car to me, I can work magic. So let me flip the camera around here and show you what we're working with. All right, so we actually did a video of this car, like I said, a little bit over a year ago, and we put a very good quality 3-year coating on here, and you can just see that these are all hard water stains that they're just simply not going to wash off. The back of, or this side of the car is definitely a lot worse. This is the side that the sprinklers really did a number on. So you can see this is all heavy contamination. Every time I do a video, UPS has to come. What does Brown do for you? Ruin my videos. But you can see how heavy the contamination is. And actually right here, we did a test spot for the client to kind of show them, and I don't know how well, that's a scratch, so, but you can see water spots, and then, oh, it looks so much clearer. You can see the UPS truck that's ruining my video. But you know, basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna hand wash this thing and get it nice and clean. Get all the topical dirt off. This dude just loves to ruin my video. He's just talking on his phone, probably talking about nothing that's relevant to his job, whereas I am talking about my job, about my business, my passion. You gotta come and trash my video. Get out of here. Freaking UPS. But anyways, what I was saying, so we're gonna do a very thorough hand wash. Basically get, and look, to drop that off. Are you kidding me? Drop it in the mailbox. Oh my God. Back to the matter at hand. So we're gonna do just a very thorough hand wash. Get all this topical dirt off, just get it as clean as possible, and then we're going to go through and basically take IGL Delete, which is an acid-based cleaner and decontamination agent, and just massage it over all the paint and hopefully get the whole car looking like this again. So like I said, I don't know how well it sitting outside looks. You can definitely see all these water spots, and then they're not so apparent right there. So that's basically what we're gonna do. We're gonna go through, we're gonna do that to all the trim. We're gonna recoat the trim because it looks terrible. And then we're gonna also redo the glass because the glass is probably pretty much shot at this point too. But yeah, it's definitely, you could tell that this car sat quite a bit. This is something where if you didn't have a coated car, you'd have to polish the whole car. So, you know, you put the money to invest into a ceramic coating, and just because it looks like this doesn't necessarily mean the coating's destroyed. Most of this will clean up. It may not be 100%. However, we are going to be able to restore and preserve the majority of the coating. And then we're going to actually put IGL Premier on top of this to help boost the hydrophobics and add a little bit of protection on there. Just because a lot of this I don't want to say it's going to be compromised, but you know, letting your car go this long is going to have some adverse effects on contact angle and the amount of hydrophobics to the surface. So we're going to put just a fresh top of the line sealant on here. IGL Premier, great product. So we're going to go with IGL for the win today. We're going to be putting Geon Preserve back on the trim though. Geon and IGL are pretty much my 1-2. I also like using Optimum. All three of those companies, they're my three musketeers. It's what I use. So we're going to start getting this thing prepped, get it washed, and then we'll show you some before and afters, especially with the IGL Delete, to see how good this looks. I'll also show you an after shot of how much IGL Premier boosts the hydrophobics. So enjoy some time lapses and we'll get this thing clean. All right, so having a look at this thing, there's really not any place that the contamination isn't present. The bumpers are okay. You've seen that in the video there, but all this is just very much compromised. So you could see the little spot where I had used IGL Delete and it restored some of the hydrophobics. But like I said, when you go this long, I mean, this is, you know, almost a year of just constant buildup sitting outside. You're gonna need some sort of hydrophobic booster. When we remove the water spots, it will begin to sheet and repel because it's lost some of that contact angle due to contamination, and then the acid's gonna pull that out. So it is gonna degrade the angle of the contact. So the higher your contact angle, the more your car beads. So it is going to restore some of it to an extent. However, to really get that full tight bead like we had before, we're gonna have to put something on top of this. So the UV protection will still be there, but some of the hydrophobic will be stripped away. As you can see, it's already been compromised, but we're gonna put IGL Premier on it to kind of bring it back. But this whole thing, even the roof, it's all trashed. So I'm gonna start washing this thing and get to bringing her back to where she needs to be. All right, so the whole car has been neutral washed for the most part. There is a little bit of degreaser in there just to kind of help break down some of the gunk and the grime. But you can see that the water spots did not wash off. This is something that if you live near any major body of water, ocean, anything like that, you're gonna deal with. These are sprinkler induced, so they're even worse. They're very, very heavy in iron specifically, but they do have a lot of magnesium in it as well. So this has a lot of alkaline to it. So soap is alkaline based, so it's not gonna do anything. It's not gonna get rid of that. What you have to do is try to balance that pH and neutralize it. So what we do is combat this with an acid, i.e. IGL delete. So while Jake does the wheels, Austin is already starting the process of using IGL delete, and what he's doing is just wiping over it, and it will start to remove the water spots. Now, a very important thing, you may have heard me mention pH. You want your surface to be as neutral as possible. So right now, the pH is all offset. It's probably 9, maybe 10 with all these alkaline minerals, built up on the surface. So we're gonna go over it with a low acid that's somewhere around 2. And it's gonna kind of neutralize everything to a certain degree, but what we wanna do is then wash this with a neutral soap, something that's just got a little bit of alkaline to it, just to make sure it's completely neutralized. Because we are gonna put a sealant on here. So if there's too much hydrogen on the surface, or not enough hydrogen on the surface, it's not gonna bond properly. So we want it as neutral as possible, because unfortunately, we can't just sit here and test this paint to see what actually the pH will be, so all we can do is take the right steps. If it's too low, if it's more acidic, so if it has a lower pH after we do the acid wipe down and we don't neutralize it with a soap, it may reject a majority of the sealant, which we don't want, and have adverse effects on the hydrophobics. So I'm doing a lot of this right now. Austin's doing a lot of this too. That's what I'm doing. But yeah, you can see that just none of this came off, and it's all still there. And here where Austin's already kind of wiping, there's some splotches, but hopefully you can kind of see there's water spots here. These are just water droplets. Let me see your towel, Austin. I'll use the other side of Austin's towel here so you can kind of see. Now, a very important thing with IGL delete is don't use it in direct sunlight. It's maybe, Austin, 68 degrees out. It's a nice day. It's a nice spring-ish day, even though it's fall. It's January here in Florida. But these are just wiping streaks. These will all come off once we actually wash it and dry it. But you can see that the water spots are already going away here. You can see them all pretty profoundly there. And then you move over here, and they're not there. That's just the delete that's on the surface. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna wipe this whole car down. We're not clay barring it. Clay bar will not remove water spots. It will introduce swirls and scratches though. We're gonna wipe this whole thing down with delete. We're gonna rinse it off, and then we're gonna hand wash it again, and we'll pull it inside and have a look at how it's doing. But I think it's gonna be pretty good, so stick tuned. Stick tuned, stay tuned. Did I just say stick tuned?
Stick tuned.
Stick tuned? Stick tuned to the to the finale. But sit tight and we'll show you guys how this thing looks when we're all done. So the great thing about IGL delete is you can actually really see it work. So here, obviously, I have not done this part with IGL delete yet, and I've got some on my microfiber here. And when you wipe it, you can just kind of watch what the paint does. See how the water spots go away? So when you do like your first wipe, you can kind of see like, oh hey, there's water spots there. You can see them, and then when you wipe again, you can see how that acid isn't sticking because it's actually removing the minerals. So it's a really nice product. It spreads really well. You said you can see clearly there's water spots there. Keep wiping, it just kind of goes away. And you want some sort of surface beading to kind of know like, hey, the surface is clear, because when it's clean, because when it's not, everything sticks to it. It's big and it's distorted, but when it's a clean surface, it tends to sheet more and have a tighter representation of water, so the bead's a little bit tighter. You can see where we haven't removed the water spots, it's big, it's spread out, but down here the water is a little bit tighter. So we're gonna finish wiping this thing down. We'll spray it down, kind of show you how the water's behaving on it. Unfortunately on this though, there are some things that even IGL Delete cannot fix. So, you know, I've said before that, you know, clay bar won't remove water spots, and it won't. Clay bar only removes contamination that's kind of protruding from the top of the paint. So if you had, you know, rail dust or something like that, debris that's sitting on top, water spots basically soak into the paint. They absorb into the paint, okay? So you got something like this little, whatever this thing is right here. Looks like some artillery mold, okay? The best way to remove that would be with clay bar because it's sticking above the paint. But these water spots are completely flush with the paint. They're absorbed in, so you need a chemical. But a chemical doesn't always fix it. I've already gone over this with Delete a couple times here, and it's just, unfortunately, when things sit for too long, they can basically penetrate, you know, below the coating or into the coating or into the paint. And even though this is coated, it's basically compiled into the coating. Now, the reason why it happened here and not so much on the sides is because this is a different angle and it gets hotter. So heat is a catalyst, so it can accelerate the reaction. So essentially what happened here is just water, minerals built up on this. When you drive it, it gets hot. When the sun hits it, it's hitting it right here. It's expanded the paint more, and it's just emulsified into the actual coating itself. So the only way to fix all this would be actually polishing it off. I think the remainder of the car will be a lot better. It's not going to be perfect. But, you know, I mean, look how much better this side looks, and this side was pretty heavy. And you can see up here we have to get this edge a little bit more. But I mean, compared to before, I mean, the water spots were way worse. So we got to come up here and get this edge a little bit better. But it's definitely looking shiny. There's still, you know, some buildup in the paint, and you're not going to get all of it off. The reality is, with this topped with IGL Premier, and in the sunlight, you really won't see a lot of this. It's metallic paint, so that's a good thing. But you can see how we got to get this edge here. That's what the paint looked like before. Look how much better it looks now. It's a world of a difference. So I'm gonna come along this edge here and clean this up, and we'll rewash this thing and see how the water's reacting on it. All right, so we have wiped down the entire car with IGL Delete. And what we're gonna do is spray it with water so you can see how much differently. There's nothing else on this. It hasn't even been rewashed. This is just IGL Delete. So you can see that we've pretty much restored the hydrophobics of this coating. Now, I can't say that, you know, there's not some water spots that aren't etched into the paint, because there is. It's actually etched into the coating, but what we've been able to do is restore the self-cleaning abilities of this coating. So, except for aesthetics and some, you know, water spots that are etched in, this thing's beading and sheeting to a degree, just the way a coating should. So see, all up top, nice and clean. Now the glass will have to recoat. That usually gets worn out. That usually only lasts a year or so. But you can see those pillars are beading good. So this is all, you know, sheeting and beading and responding that the way essentially a one-year-old single layer coating should. Obviously before it was just clogged and just not the way it should be. And even the hood that has those heavy etched water spots, we've still restored that beading and that self-cleaning ability. So like I said, aesthetics aside, the coating is now responding and the water activity is back to the way it should be. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna rinse this down. We're gonna rewash the car here, and we are going to apply IGL Premier and put some preserve on the trim and get this thing back to square one. All right, well, here is the it's actually a 2020. In my video, I said it was a 2019. I'm sorry. Jake, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I didn't know. I thought it was a 2019. But we washed the entire vehicle. We wiped it all down and did a chemical decontamination with IGL Delete. It helped remove contaminants on the paint and remove a lot of the water spots. And then we re-washed it and we went over it with IGL Premier. And you can see that the paint looks great. There are still some water spots. It's actually hard to see some of them in here. You can see them a little bit better outdoors. Typically these lights will show scratches and swirls a lot better. Water spots, sometimes it's weird. We got to turn certain lights off and get certain things, but you can still see some of them right here on that angle. They're just etched in a little bit too much. It was just neglected a little bit too long. But the side here, this thing was covered with water spots, and you can see with that LED on there, it looks way better. Nice and clean, super slick now too. Like I said, the surface is very clean. We are treating the trim. We started that process, and you can see where we stopped right there, and then you can see how faded it was and just how deteriorated from all the contamination. And we've started putting the preservation agent on there to kind of bring that richness back. So we're gonna let that sit for about 30-45 minutes before we wipe it off, just to let it absorb in. But overall, it looks really good. And then, if you come on this side, just to a testament to this, not only the client's work, but our work as well, is, I mean, we went over this thing quite a bit, and you're not seeing any swirls. So, if you do a very thorough, slow, controlled, hand wash, you're not going to scratch your paint. You just got to be gentle with it. Things like scratches, and I've seen one or two back here. You're going to get scratches over time, but I mean, it's been over a year since we've done this coating, and look how good the paint still looks. If you go through it, you're going to see things like chips. I know there was a scratch up here somewhere. Yeah, right there. So things like that they're going to happen, but overall, the paint does look really good. There's not a ton of defects in it. So when you wash a car properly, you're not going to swirl it. If we were to try to clay bar this thing, it would have swirled it all up. That's why we went with chemical decontamination. That's why I explained it in the video. But overall, it's looking pretty good. We did do an interior on this as well, so we do have to back this out in a minute here. That's why the door's open. So we're just kind of putting like I said, the trim agent on to let it absorb in, and then we're gonna do some touch-ups on the outside. Oh, the sun's coming out, so we can see this thing in the sun. So we're gonna finish touching this thing up. We'll do a recap with this thing out in the sun and see how it looks. All right, well, here is the 2020 Honda Pilot. We're all done with it. And it definitely looks more of the way it should. Now, again, we couldn't get everything off. You can see some of these hard water stains. And that's just, like I said, this is a main focal point where heat, sunlight, contamination can lay and build up, and that's what happened. But, you stand 3 feet back, you don't even see it. Like I said, we knew that the coating was gonna hold up. We put that topper seal on of IGL Premier, and it just gives it that little pop, that little extra oomph to really kind of bring everything back. You got that mirror shine, and the trim's looking great. We put the Geon Preserve to restore and preserve the trim. Overall, the car looks great. So this just kind of shows that, when you have a ceramic coating, it can help prevent permanent damage. It's a perfect example. This car sat outside probably for about 6 months, and you've seen from the video, no major swirls, nothing that we did. When you do things carefully, you use the right products, you're not going to scratch the paint, you're not going to swirl the paint. You just have to have the right arsenal, the right method, and you can have results like this. Well, that's pretty much it. That is a wrap on the Pilot. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I hope this opened your eyes a little bit to what a ceramic coating can actually do, how it can help fix and prevent certain things. If you're a detailer, looking to get an IGL into your arsenal because it can definitely save you a headache. If you're a customer, don't neglect your car, but if you do, come and see me because I'll fix it. That's pretty much it, guys. I'm out of here. If you liked the video, give it a big thumbs up. If you are a subscriber, thank you. If you'd like to subscribe, click the subscribe button. And if you're not, we'll see you next time, guys.